Hello and welcome to Watercooler for Thursday, May 28th, 2020. I forgot what year it was. The reason I was a little confused is we don't usually record on Thursdays. We've been so good recording Wednesdays and Fridays, but this week we'll do a Thursday episode because scheduling wouldn't permit us to record a Wednesday episode. So sorry about being a day late, but have no fear. We're here. This is the show where I, Chris Loxamana, hang out with my cruel digital buds virtually or socially distant with my cruel digital homies. Drink some brews or sparkling waters or lemon waters. Kick it Philly style. And today will be no different. With me today, socially distant, Caelan Biehn.
What's going on?
Hey, buddy. I'm worried about Insomniac. Is he around? Have you heard any buzz?
I have not heard anything about him.
He's just out.
It's just out.
Very weird that he disappears and a pandemic appears.
Yeah, he might have something to do with it. You never know.
We are all very curious. So we miss Insomniac, and hopefully, God, I would kill just to hear those two letters when I greet him. Oh, I miss it. Gary Smith's here.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? And of course, Indoor Matt.
Hey, brother.
Hey, brother. I'm excited because we have a joint chez Fondiler. We all participated in a meal earlier today, and I can't wait to discuss. Also, Indoor Matt means only one thing. We get a flicking on the spot when he reaches behind. So we'll get into that in a moment as well. But first, before the mic heated up, we were waiting on Gary because traffic, I guess, is starting to come back in LA, which is worrying me.
Yeah, it's getting thicker. That's for sure. It's as I was telling you guys, I get the sense that it's just the traditional rush hour time. Like I happen to leave the studio around 4:30 or 4:45, and that is about the death hour for traffic in LA.
Yeah.
I mean, it when everything's running normally, pretty much any time after 2, it starts to become rush hour, but the heart of rush hour is about 5 p.m., which makes sense. You know, a lot of people have 9 to 5 jobs. They're getting on the freeway right at 5 or a few minutes after. And then, so 5 to 7 is really the death hour. And I got on the freeway at 4:30 or 4:45, and it's a little thicker at those times.
Oh,
but, I went home at 6:30 or 7 the night before, and there was no traffic at all. So.
Right. And when I say that worries me, I'm obviously it's selfishly. I'm excited to see the world getting back to normal in some sense, but
sense.
I do like not having any traffic. And Gary's right. Back before the pandemic, when we would be off around, but anytime we're off around between 3 and 6,
yeah,
there'd be times when Gary and I would just look at each other and just go, "You want to play video games or something?" Because I don't want to wait in traffic, and I'd rather just hang here and then drive a quicker drive.
Is way more productive. If you could find something to do to occupy your time, it would be way more productive to sit at the studio for 3 hours and then, cut your drive time in half. And that's really what it can do with where Chris and I live.
I have noticed, because I live similar distance now, that without the traffic, 40-minute drive, 45 or so, it's fine. And I can get out the car and I could even do a little workout, and I'm, kind of up and everything. But the hour and a half to 2 hours, I'm so drained after that drive. I'm not doing anything.
Weird to get drained just by sitting for hours, but it happens. And even mentally too, you're just, it takes a lot out of you. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I am happy to see that people, at least means some people are getting back to making money and going to work and such. Also, before the mics heated up, Matt and I were talking about a movie. I informed him because he was wondering what he was going to do tonight, or actually I was wondering for him. He already had plans. And the wife is away for tonight, so Matt kind of has free reign on whatever he wants to do.
Hey,
and
this podcast ends, all the clothes coming off, baby.
Why wait?
Hooping with the door open. Oh, gonna be great.
Gary, what do you suggest he does?
Well, look, I suggest he does whatever his little heart desires, because the world is his oyster. That's really all the world is.
That's right.
I could come up with some suggestions on TV, but I happen to know from talking to Matt that he has a video game he was maybe hoping to get a little bit of time in on. selfishly, I'd like him to do Ace on the House. I'm just kidding.
That is not happening.
I know. That was a legitimate joke. But look, I don't think Matt's interested, but if Matt was a sports fan, I would say watch that Lance Armstrong doc. I watched it last night, and boy, that's just a bit of all right for a sports fan.
Oh, great! Yeah, I've heard nothing but the Lance Armstrong doc in the last 24 hours.
Well, people needed something after the Michael Jordan one. There's probably going to be another one after Lance coming soon.
I want to see.
In the Lance Armstrong doc, at least the version that I recorded, there's a commercial laying out like the next month worth of 30 for 30 is going to be lit. There's some really good ones coming. So I don't know. Chris is right. We have been assaulted with Lance Armstrong talk the last 24 hours. That's why I did sit down and watch it. I was like, all right, if this is going to be coming at me all day, every day, I need to be proficient in it so I can discuss it.
I know Dawson's not here, but I think we can now say that the Lance Armstrong doc is a cultural phenomenon.
Oh, absolutely.
Or at least getting there. Yes. Okay, great. I will write that down and I will make sure to watch it because it is that. And yeah, I bet I want to see a documentary on what The Last Dance did to people in quarantine. Like just the effect it had at the time it came out. And just because I don't know, like obviously wouldn't have had as big of an impact had people not been stuck in their homes. I mean, sure, it was great and very well done, but it was interesting that all of those pieces just fell into place to have.
They moved it up too, didn't they? It was supposed to come out later, and then they moved it up because
Yes, they did. And
well, you need a documentary.
It was really cool that they moved it up, but they moved it up and they got really ambitious with it because it started with LeBron James saying, "You guys have this in the can, just release it already." A lot of pressure got put on ESPN to do that, and they did, but they did not, in fact, have it all in the can. It wasn't until episodes 3 and 4 aired. It was after episodes 3 and 4 aired that they got the final interviews from like John Stockton and stuff. So they hadn't finished the entire series. So they really went after it.
Oh, Caelan has to get the gate at the front. And I forgot that I scheduled like a quick fan visit. He wanted to drop off some stuff, and I said go around this time. So Caelan's gonna be very confused because I did not tell him about it. He walked out there.
No.
So we shall see what happens.
Caelan may be away from the show for a little bit.
It's okay. But I will watch the Lance Armstrong documentary, and I think that's a good idea to do for Matt. But I also told Matt that Deep Impact is on Netflix.
Oh,
which I watched last night, and nothing like that era for just disaster movies or just any action or thriller movies of the 90s. I don't know. It's just it weirdly is just
for us.
Yeah, it is nostalgic, and it is getting farther and farther away from today. I mean, obviously, but it's so crazy how much of a change it is just with the hairstyles. It's becoming what the 80s was when we were growing up. So it's just it really is its own defining time.
Yeah, I will say that Deep Impact is an excellent film, and you can't go wrong. Unfortunately for Matt, if we're going to suggest films, he has a long list of Gerard Butler films that have been assigned to him long ago that
Chris,
he has not gotten to.
This is exactly where I was getting to. Because
Gary, you should know one of the things that I said I'm going to probably try to do tonight is watch one of the Gerard Butler action movies. That was the exact phrase that I used, in fact.
Not only that, but I suggested Deep Impact, and he said, while I would like to do that, Randy and Gary have suggested that I need to watch some Gerard Butler action movies.
My head went to Geostorm because I'm sure that's the movie that Gary was probably going to bring up, which I imagine is a parallel in a way to Deep Impact.
Absolutely not.
All right.
Listen, I guess they're related in that space is definitely in both of them. Geostorm is one of the ones you have been assigned. Geostorm, an excellent piece of art that should be viewed.
And Hunter Killer is the other one, right? That's
Hunter Killer featuring Joe Glass.
That's the one I think might be on HBO. If that one's on HBO right now,
that one is on HBO.
Then that may very well be the way that I finish off tonight.
That one is
Gerard
on HBO.
Butler, an action star. I believe it. I mean, I told Matt and Caelan off.
Believe it.
I know it. I know it.
It's a reality.
Yeah.
An irrefutable fact.
I told Caelan and Matt that I saw Gerard Butler. We both crossed the same New York Street crosswalk or a street in New York. And as we passed by, these girls stopped to take a picture with him. And my buddy's like, "Who is that?" And I go, "That is Clive Owen." To where one of the girls taking a picture then yells back to me, goes, "This is Gerard Butler." And I walked away.
That is a mistake I have made before.
Oh, great. Okay, so that now I don't feel as bad.
I have confused those people. I don't know if I've done it publicly to a point where it was embarrassing like that to a stranger or to Gerard Butler actually standing there, but I have absolutely, in my own mind, confused those two.
Yeah, so it has happened. So thank goodness. It actually makes me feel a lot better. But then Matt and I were talking about planes or movies on planes, because when I was on a plane back from Houston, a thing that Mike August likes to do, whether he's a row behind me, or whether he's in the section on the other side of the pathway, Mike will always watch whatever I'm watching from wherever he's sitting, and he watches it intently to the point where I can't change it because I feel bad that he's so into this. And
Is he watching something also?
No.
I mean, is there something playing on his screen?
Nope.
No.
He will just watch. And he watches everything on mute anyways. Like there's definitely been a time where I've seen Mike, and what's that shark movie that came out? That shark monster movie about
the Meg.
The Meg. It was the Meg.
I've seen the Meg.
And Mike August will put on the Meg, and I saw him do this on his personal screen. He watches the Meg, just fast forwards. He watches the whole thing on fast forward. It takes him about 5 minutes to watch the whole thing. And I go, "Mike, what did you just do?" And he's like, "That movie sucks." Like as if he saw it. He watched it on mute and on fast forward, and then he was able to come up to me and have a review of the movie and how awful it was.
If there's any movie you can do that to, the Meg is pretty good.
Yeah. That's exactly right. But so Mike will watch. So I put on Hobbs and Shaw, and Mike was watching, and I've seen it already, and I just wanted something, just some motion in front of me to take, and I could kind of drift in and out of. And Mike was really into it. And Caelan suggested, "Well, you should have put on Hustlers, because I know you've watched that on a airplane movie screen." And I said that was very uncomfortable. But Matt recently saw Hustlers, and how was your interpretation, or what was your experience watching Hustlers?
I recently saw it too.
Oh, great.
Oh, you did, Gary. Oh,
have you seen it, Caelan?
I have not seen it.
Okay, well, it's okay.
But feel free to spoil. I don't care.
I watched about 80% of it. I turned it on a few minutes.
That's not a good sign.
That's not a good sign.
I just started it like a little late. Like I saw it on TV and it was like, yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well, Matt, what do you guys, or Gary too, what do you guys think? And imagine watching it on a plane.
I'll defer to Matt.
Not plane appropriate. Let's just say that right out of the gate. I personally found the movie to be pretty mediocre. My impression of it was that somebody watched Showgirls and thought, "I can do that." Not better or worse, but I can do that movie. And I didn't understand all the Oscar buzz that J-Lo was getting. I was like waiting to be like, "Oh, she really was snubbed," but I just
I will agree with Matt. It was a fine film that I found myself sitting there going, Oscars? It was a fine film. It's not it's not hot dog shit. It's not Star Wars, but it's not.
We know what you meant. Hot dog shit.
But I did not really necessarily think that anyone warranted award consideration of any kind.
No.
Gold,
so if they can give Mr. Skin wants to give out an award for that movie, by all means, it can win that award. I'm fine with
the
that.
Anatomy Award.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah, that I would have been fine with.
Which brings us to what I was going to bring up off air, but Chris didn't even let me get 2 sentences in before he insisted we had to talk about it on air.
Yeah.
So, as we say on the show, respect all women. Let's just get that out of the way. So we're all Bobo boys here. We're all on the same playing field.
Oh wait, I have my Days of Thunder thing, but this is the note I had.
We can't see it. Turn your goddamn virtual background
off.
It's the little arrow next to the start video button.
Okay, but anyway, I was going to show the note that I wrote when I told Matt to stop talking, and it was this,
which is really hard for me to do.
J-Lo butt. Yeah.
All right.
And Matt said, "Well, J-Lo's butt," and then I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, we're going to talk about this on air."
Yes. Okay. So here was my kind of thought process as this movie's beginning, because the opening scene.
Gary, what is going on with you right now?
Way back.
I'm not sure I want any part of this.
Commenting on this way back.
Just for the record, I was not here for this off-air conversation. I was the last one to
It didn't happen
arrive.
off air, Gary. It didn't happen off air. He wouldn't let me talk about it. He insisted that I wait.
We don't know where this is going. Gary almost turned his video off.
It's not going anywhere that we can't handle. All right, we're all Bobo boys here.
Yeah, woo. And we respect women.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Here's what my thought was.
So J-Lo's butt.
J-Lo was, I think, the kind of first like butt actress. When I was growing up, it was all about the boobies. And J-Lo comes along and she's got the butt, and now everybody talks about the butt. Now the butt is like the cultural thing. It's not as much about the boobies. Can we all agree on that? Gary.
Absolutely.
What'd you say? I missed that.
I just said you have to go first. I was just fucking around with you, though. I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything incendiary here.
Look, I will agree and rephrase. J-Lo's butt was a cultural phenomenon.
It was a cultural phenomenon. All right. So,
this
movie.
I'll keep going. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Watching this movie, in the opening scene, when J-Lo's wearing, you can't even call it a G-string. It was just a string going up her butt crack. She is fully exposing her butt cheeks. And I looked at my wife and I said something to the extent of, is this the same thing as an actress showing her boobies? Because J-Lo's thing was always the butt, and now the opening scene of this movie, she's just baring her butt for everybody to see. I would think that that's like a huge deal to people. Again, Anatomy Awards at the very least, but I'm looking at some solid faces, some solemn faces here, so maybe I'm alone in this.
I will attempt to answer this as delicately as I can. It is not the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. One, because I have a butt.
But
so why am I have a butt. Why do I care about her butt? I got a butt.
Okay.
By that argument, you have breasts too. So what the fuck are we talking about?
But not like there's no way I can respond to that delicately. So
again, I think ordinarily you're right. Seeing somebody's butt, we've all seen butts. It's not a big deal. But it was J-Lo's butt.
That's
you understand?
It is J-Lo's butt. There is exactly. It's a cultural phenomenon. There is history with it. There is fame with it. There's desire with it. I understand. But
exactly.
It's obviously on my mind now. I never really got into the big butt thing personally. And when I was in Houston, this girl walked by me, and she obviously had
the lean back again.
There's no denying it. I don't really. Usually, when there's a girl who walks by with like implants on anything, Jen will go, "Whoa, you see that?" Here is the sunglasses on. And I actually I really don't notice, and I go, I didn't see. I wasn't paying attention or anything, because I really don't, for the most part. I don't know why. I'm very oblivious to a lot of that stuff. So
You're
when
like that meme, aren't you? You're the dude turning around his shoulder while the girlfriend looks really upset at him.
It's actually the other way around. Jen is the one turning around her shoulder while I'm looking the other way, and she's like, "Did you see that?"
I've seen that one too.
So Chris is the chick.
Yeah.
There
you go.
Yeah, in that part, I'm the chick. So, but there you go again. In Houston, this girl walks by me, and her butt is just so disproportionately enormous, to the point where I'm just like, okay, they're obviously implants. No way anybody naturally could have that weird of a like it was like if Grimace Grimace turned sideways just in her waist. Like it was like she was like smuggling watermelon, and I could not understand, like, who finds that attractive. That is so crazy. But I know she probably gets paid $1 million on Instagram for that huge behind, but I'm just like, it doesn't look human. It does not look human. And
it's better than human. I think is what you're trying to say, Chris.
That's right. Yeah, it's superior to being human.
I'm just trying to dig you out of this hole, man. Different
Am
body
I in a
types,
hole?
okay? You don't know. Maybe she has a long history of large hip women in her family, and she's got a big butt.
No,
who
I
cares?
know. I've seen a lot of humans in my life. That was not natural.
All right.
And I'm not into it. I'll be the first to say it. I'm not into that. Gary, I'll say you.
I mean, no, like no one is into the actual implants, or I believe there are people out there who find body modifications that are quite clearly not real to be attractive. I am not one of them. I am not hating on people who change things on their body, but keep it in the realm of what a normal human being looks like, please, so that it's not so distracting. That's my preference. And everyone is entitled to do with your body as you please. I am not going to tell anyone what to do, whatever. What I find attractive, if you're going to change your body in some way, please do it in a subtle manner so it looks like you could have actually possibly just looked that way out of the box.
Yeah. I'm with Gary. So I think Gary's right. We're just not in her target demo.
No. And look, if she is, and I bet you she is super, making a decent living on Instagram. I just
making an ass load of money. Come on.
Bravo,
but I mean,
Matt.
I always wonder, what does that look like 10 years from now? I just feel like there's going to be health complications down the road. Like,
oh, interesting.
I mean, if you think about like the first generation of chicks that had, breast implants, that all had to be swapped out. They use totally different technology now. It's just like, I don't know, man. Like, be careful what you're doing.
Right. And you sit on those the rest of your life.
That part might not be so bad, dude. I mean, you ever go to like a sports game and want to buy one of those little cushions or something?
That's right.
Hey, they're saving money.
He's actually saving money. It is an investment.
And look, I will also say definitely not safe for work, but you can go down a crazy rabbit hole by Googling butt implant gone wrong or butt implant failed. It's disturbing.
Okay, let's not do that.
People die from that.
Matt disappeared as he's Googling right now.
And you're right.
Yeah.
That worries me too. So I guess we're all really not that into it. We can't take a consensus though because Dawson's not here, so we'll just assume that we all, at least for now, we're not really that into it. And that is the butts. Or Caelan, do you like those butts? Those big butts? I didn't even ask
like
you.
big butts? Don't lie.
Don't lie. You must tell the truth.
Now, are you talking about ones with implants or just big butts in general? Because I'm a bit confused at this point. I don't feel like I can really. I'm not good at telling when someone has implants.
You could tell if you saw this girl. There's no way.
Well, if it was that obvious, then I wouldn't be into it. But yeah, who's not into big butts? Natural ones, at least.
All right. Well, there you go. Gary.
I'm not into it.
Gary's hitting delete on this podcast right now. Delete. We're okay.
Listen, I was willing to bring all this up off air. It was Chris who wanted to bring this into the fold.
Sunglasses Gary. Oh, no. What does Gary Graffs have to say about this? I'm a little worried. On another note, we'll move on. I had remember it might have been years ago when I had that near-death experience when I was digging through underneath the movie seat.
Oh,
I lost my phone. I dug under the movie seat.
That wasn't years ago.
It might have been a year ago, and it was because it was when Black Panther. I remember the movie. We were watching Black Panther, and I was digging underneath the movie seat to find my phone. I find it. And then I go on Twitter, and literally the first headline is "Man in England dies from digging underneath one of those movie seats. He gets his head crushed or something."
Didn't you find some candy under there too, or something?
Oh, I found a treasure.
I
found Starburst, Milk Duds.
Treasure trove. Chris, you mispronounced trash.
Chris, I actually meant to ask you this. Now that we're in quarantine, you don't get the movie theater experience. Have you considered hiding some candy and crumbled popcorn under your own couch cushion and then casually mention to Jen, I wonder if there's anything under here, and be really impressed when there's a lot there?
I like that
That's a good
idea.
idea.
That is a
That's a good
great. That's
idea.
like role playing. Like, hey, we're in the movie theater, and I'm just gonna reach in here. What do I find? Some coins, lint, popcorn. Oop, what is this? Milk Duds, baby. I like that. We'll do it. So that is a great idea, Matt. But it might give me some PTSD because I did almost die. So that was a near-death experience. I go on Twitter and I find out that a man who did exactly what I did has passed. He got killed. So it was obviously very tragic, but it really opened my eyes to the world, and I had a near-death experience. Well, this week I had another NDE. And
a non-disclosure agreement.
agreement.
I lost it there.
No, I had another near-death experience.
What happened?
So the other day I was turning in for the night. I like to do that every now and then, every day pretty much. I turn in for that. Every day.
He's going to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure I'm following here. Continue.
I like to go to sleep, and before I do that, I'll brush my teeth. So I go to the bathroom, open the medicine cabinet, put my toothpaste on, I start brushing my teeth. But as I'm doing it, I realize it doesn't taste like toothpaste.
Oh.
It is. I grabbed what is called cortisone cream or hydrocortisone.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm brushing it and I'm thinking, this doesn't taste right. And I open it up again. And this mother effing tube looks exactly like the Colgate that I use. It's the same colors. It starts with CO, and it's white. And I squeezed all that. I've been brushing my teeth with cortisone cream. I'm pretty sure I swallowed some too, just because it's in there. And
I can't believe you got that many strokes of the brush in before you realized what that was.
Yeah.
Nor can swallowing toothpaste.
Do you swallow toothpaste? What are you,
well, no, not a ton,
about?
but I'm sure some of it went down the gullet. I mean, who knows? Anyway.
I don't think so.
So I start gagging. I throw the toothbrush. I'm just spitting now. I'm just spitting, gagging into the thing. I'm reading the thing. I'm calling you, John. She's like, what? And I just I'm holding up this cortisone cream tube, and she grabs it.
You need cortisone?
And I'm just spitting this out. On the back it says, "Do not swallow if." And this is topical cream, so it obviously absorbs into your skin. So it's absorbed into my gums now. So now my gums are just full of cortisone cream. Who knows what kind of side effect it's going to have? And on the back it says, "If ingested, call Poison Control Center immediately."
Fucking Jen spends all day at a hospital on the front lines fighting fucking 19, and she comes home to this bullshit.
Yeah, so I'm spitting it out. I hear in the other room, "Hi, my fiance has brushed his teeth with cortisone cream." And then this is what I hear. So as I'm spitting out gagging, it's, "Yeah, my fiance brushed his teeth with cortisone cream." That's right. A few minutes ago. He's 34. Okay, thanks. And that was it. And she just starts laughing. And because the Poison Control Center said this happens a lot more than you think. This is actually quite a common one, which relieved me.
Man.
They said I might just have a stomachache the next day, but I was fine. And guys, live to see another day.
Woo.
So I've been poisoned and I've overcome it.
Didn't you also almost get crushed by one of Adam's cars the other day?
Yes.
That's
Jeff
sort
doesn't
of.
know about that one. But yes, I did. So Adam weirdly likes to decorate his walls with cars. One of the walls is just the body of a car that he mounted to the wall. So it just looks like it's riding the wall. And I was getting stuff prepared for our Houston trip, and I bumped it with my head just ever so slightly, like barely tapped it.
To be clear for fans who don't know this, if you think of like a race car, they have these like plastic fiberglass pieces that go over the metal frame of the car. There's not actually a 4,000 pound car on the wall. It's just the tins that are
just the panels. Yeah.
Yes.
And
still heavy as fuck though.
Still very heavy.
You don't want it to fall on you.
Yeah.
And then I tap it with my head, and I hear this big noise, like, and this thing just falling on me. And I look up, and the thing latches, and it's now on these emergency chains that they put up just in case something like this happened. There's an earthquake. So this thing's now just pulling on these emergency chains, just hanging over me, and I'm like, oh my God, I almost died. And I mean, how ironic that I die by getting crushed by one of Adam Carolla's cars. But I'm watching, and then there's this wood panel that falls off the car. Now I'm holding it up. There's probably video footage of this, but I'm holding it up thinking, what am I going to do now? I'm holding this wood panel up. And if I let it go, the whole thing is going to fall off because this wood panel is wired on the bottom. It's going to take the car body with it. And it's a heavy wood panel. So I'm holding it up, looking around like, what am I going to do? I managed, after this is taking me about 10 minutes to wedge it into the car to hold up on its own, at least just for a minute, so I can grab the step ladder, this huge staircase step ladder, and roll it over and hold it up to Adam's car, which it is holding up to this very moment. And Adam, it has not been fixed, but the staircase is holding it up. So yes, I almost did die then too. Is this Final Destination, Matt? Is this what's happening to me? I'm cheating death all these times, and he just keeps circling back.
Yeah.
If this is anything like Final Destination, you got to get a hold of the flight manifesto of that plane from Houston, because I think that plane was supposed to do something, and maybe the order of the seat you were sitting in. I've seen that movie so many times. You could really be in for it, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm super worried. And yeah, you're right, Caelan. Death and I have become best friends.
It's also funny that you mentioned that movie, because I was actually just walking by someone's apartment the other day when I was walking my dog, and I could tell that they were watching that movie from just one line of that movie.
You've seen it that many times?
I've probably seen it that many times. It's a line in which a girl says something, and then she says, well, you can go fuck yourself, and backs up and gets hit by a bus. And I just heard it, and I was like, I know that movie. Oh, they're watching Final Destination in there.
That trope needs to be done with, because the person walking backwards onto a street, no matter what I'm watching, I expect them to get hit by a bus.
That was pretty early on, though. That scared the crap out of me the first time I saw it.
Well, that's before it was.
Yeah, that's before it was a thing.
Before it was a thing.
Yeah, but now
mastered by Samuel Jackson in Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah. That's a great one.
Deep Blue, that was shocking.
Is that the wrong title?
No, you're right.
Deep Blue Sea.
No,
Yeah,
right. You're shaking your head for a second. Okay.
No, I was just.
He was remembering the
scene.
traumatic experience.
One of the most shocking deaths. He pulled off a Bill
really
Pullman level speech, and just got destroyed.
Just destroyed.
Great movie. The special effects do not hold up.
No, they do not.
Yeah, I agree. Now, also, before we get into our joint Shay, Gary put up a picture of Rob Riggle as a virtual background as a joke before the mic's heated up. Can you put it up? Are you allowed to show it?
Yeah, sure.
But if you, I just have a story about this, because if you look at Rob, a picture of Rob kind of doing a derp face, and he has this long hair, this emo hair.
Yeah.
You know what this is from?
No, what is it?
This is from. I don't know this because I haven't seen this movie, but it's I used to produce Rob's podcast, Wriggles Picks, and when we were doing them over Zoom, his co-host and I would take turns trying to find the most embarrassing pictures of him to use as our Zoom backgrounds to roast him. And this is a picture that came up when you put in Rob Riggle dumb or Rob Riggle stupid or something in Google Images, and he enlightened me that this is from Dumb and Dumber 2.
Oh, okay.
Dumber 2 or something.
Sure.
There's two Dumb and Dumber 2s.
Dumb and Dumber the prequel
or Dumb and Dumber.
Or
this dumb. Is I think this is Dumb and Dumber 2, the actual Jim Carrey.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The one where they reunited the cast and it still sucked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that hair was my hair in the 11th and 12th grade.
Yeah.
But maybe a touch short, because it's kind of that emo cut. And literally what I would have to do to get that hair was I would straighten my hair. I actually used my mom's straightener and would pinch the blade and straighten my hair. And when I was 18, I worked at a TGI Fridays, and I thought I was pretty cool. I played guitar. I know I'm the new guy. I'm the host, whatever. And I remember one of the bartenders came up to me, and he kind of has this shit-eating grin on his face, and he's just wiping a glass, and he goes, "Hey, that's some pretty cool hair, man." I'm like, thanks. So, how do you get your hair to do that? Like, just you do anything to it? And I was too embarrassed to say that I used my mom's straightener to do it. So I'm like, nah, just towel dry, bro. Just towel dry. It looks like this. She's like, really? You towel dry your hair and it looks like that? Yeah, whatever. And then he walked away laughing. And now I look back at that moment thinking he was making fun of me, and he probably told everybody. I thought I got away with murder, but yeah, super embarrassing. That when I have that hair, I would straighten it myself because I thought, yeah, that's what you do, and it's not one of my finest moments. But I did have that hair for a couple years. I'll find pictures, and that's my my hair story.
Sounds like your next show and tell has been decided.
Oh, I should have saved that for show and tell. Maybe I'll find a picture and do that.
Just use the picture.
You just reminded me of a prank that kind of got pulled on me when I was working at a supermarket. There was an older guy. I was probably same age as you, 15, 16, something like that.
I was 18, 19, but whatever.
Whatever. I worked at a supermarket, and there was a guy in the meat department who was a little older, probably like 26, 27, and he used to mess with me. I don't know why. I'd like to believe that he just liked me and it was a fun thing, but he might have just been an asshole. I have no idea. But this guy would find elaborate ways to mess with me. And one of the most embarrassing ones was he waited until he knew that I was the only one sort of up near the front, and he called the store from his cell phone and asked me to do a price check on dingleberries. And I didn't put it together. I didn't put it together. I think he said like dingle berries and like spaced the words out or whatever. And I proceeded to go into like the produce department or maybe, you know what? Actually, no, worse. I think I got on the PA and did a price check on dingleberries. And then you just hear from the meat department in the far corner, this bellowing laughter. And I remember the manager like took us both aside and was like, all right, that was kind of funny, but like we can't be doing that.
That's a great prank.
That is great.
It was good.
Dingleberries will always be funny. It's just such a funny word. It will always be funny. So speaking of berries, though, let's get into some shade.
Wow.
Shape on the way. So
quite a transition.
I know. Hey, it did it for me. The show did it for me.
What is on the very disgusting menu?
Well, fortunately for all of us, something completely delicious and not disgusting whatsoever. I was told a couple days ago by one Gary Smith that he was going to be frequenting a deli that's come up on the show before called Langer's. It's an LA institution. They have amazing pastrami sandwiches. And Gary offered to bring one in on the drive into work today. And as word spread around, suddenly all the Watercooler guys are getting in on this. And so today, we all shared a lunch together with some Langer's pastrami sandwiches.
And I gotta say, aside from being delicious, it was the first time we've all shared a meal kind of together at the same time in several months. So it was the camaraderie of sitting around and just kind of enjoying our sandwiches and chatting and cracking wise was really fun. And I'll give a quick shout out to our very own Reasonable Doubt co-host, Mark Garrigus, who sort of inspired this. I spoke with him last Friday, and he told me that he had Langer's delivered to his office, and I instantly became very jealous and decided I would have to be getting it in short order.
And Langer's, for those who aren't LA adjacent, they just make a great pastrami sandwich. Legendary.
They make the best pastrami. It's like the LA pastrami sandwich.
Thank you, Caelan. It's the best.
Pastrami sandwich.
Well, that's debatable
on the West Coast. On the West Coast, it's not debatable on the West Coast.
Taco doesn't agree.
Yeah, Taco, stop it. I think the mailman's coming or something. Yeah. Anyway, listen. There's like email coming. It's fine. We'll relax in a second. I need to try the Wexlers again because
you don't. No, you don't.
No, I just have to. It's the only way to be absolutely sure.
Matt, as established, Matt can mute himself, but I will tell Chris and Caelan and the audience what I said earlier today. The debate on Wexlers versus Langer's is over, and it was over the moment that Wexlers put a sandwich on their menu that is an exact copy of the most famous item on Langer's menu, which at Langer's is called the number 19. It's pastrami, Russian, Swiss, and coleslaw on rye. Wexler's then put the exact same sandwich on their menu and called it the MacArthur Park as a nod to where Langer's is, which is across the street from MacArthur Park. So when Wexler did that and copied Langer's, they became the subservient pastrami place. They're just
just because Langer's has been around longer doesn't mean that it's necessarily better.
I mean,
I don't know how a pastrami sandwich could be better than what
that might
was
be
eaten today,
true,
aside from being fresh.
I agree. Matt, that might be true. And if you would like to waste $17, please go with God. I have tried them both. It's not up for debate.
I'm
Langer's
just
is
saying.
better.
I'm just saying. I just want to try Wexler's again, just to really while
I
this
feel
is
sorry
fresh in
for
my
you.
mind.
That's an experiment I would like to be a part of.
Yeah,
too.
let me join in on that.
Yeah.
now that you
Let's
start.
There you go.
Wexler's,
Now we're
Wexler's
talking.
too.
Go ahead, boys. Let me know what day you're doing it, and I'll go to Langer's for myself.
Oh wow!
Yeah. But it was
all right, well,
phenomenal.
listen, I didn't want to bring it up to bring up that particular debate, but there were several other water cooler-esque debates that occurred within the 9 minutes that we were all eating these sandwiches.
Well, first I want to address that since we were gone yesterday, there has been some hubbub that we were just fighting too much, and our argument has just gone so deep that we couldn't record an episode. Yeah, because it's been that serious of a debate, and we're obviously talking about the sandwich cutting debate, diagonal versus quote square.
By the way, have you guys seen that we are also getting we're getting copied by Popular Mechanic? Popular Mechanic sent out an email today about the best way to cut a sandwich, square or triangle. I mean, they're just these people are just stealing our material.
Come on now.
It's fine.
Let me just say, in regards to our ability to record shows and be friends, I'm not really into sports, but I feel like we're all athletes when it comes to this. We bring it on the field, but as soon as the whistle blows, we all let the steam off. We're all totally cool, but the next matchup, baby, it's on again. You guys know what I'm saying?
Come
on, sports fans. Sports fans. There we go.
Mike Dawson heard we are arguing about Mike.
Dawson.
Well, let's first off, let's welcome Mike Dawson.
Never mind.
He's gone.
Yeah, Mike's video just disappeared. We'll get Mike connected in just a moment.
All right. Well, I'm sure he'll jump right into this conversation here. I will begin by saying that Langer's is absolutely amazing. And I was thinking about particularly the texture of this type of pastrami sandwich is like the difference between a really good hamburger or like a filet mignon. You could have a really good hamburger. It's got its own kind of texture and it's really flavorful and delicious. But when you have a piece of buttery steak, whatever chop you like, where it just melts in your mouth, you barely even need to chew it. It's like a whole other level of experience. And I feel like that's what that pastrami sandwich is compared to other pastrami sandwiches.
I agree. It's a different level.
The cut is a bit thicker, but it's easier to eat.
It actually melts in your mouth. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's very unusual how thick it's cut, but it is somehow as tender, if not more tender, than most pastramis that you've tried from famous delis around the way. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. Welcome, Mike Dawson.
Welcome, Mike Dawson, to the program. Wait, go ahead, Mike.
Microphone. Check 1, 2.
Can you hear me? Is it working?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you. I don't think your mic's hooked up.
You're not coming out through your mic.
Is coming through your laptop.
What's wrong with your studio?
Yeah, I was having some problems. I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, if you click the little up arrow next to mute, you should be able to select your USB microphone there. Little tech talk.
I did. And it won't do it.
Well, we can hear you.
Yeah. We could hear you. You don't need it. Mike, so before you got here, we're talking about how to cut sandwiches. We'd like you to weigh in on the proper way to cut a sandwich.
No, we are not talking about that. We are just talking about the incredible Langer's pastrami sandwich, the texture, the different flavors. It's amazing. Now are you guys still there?
I'm here.
Okay, good. Sorry, my screen froze for a second. There were a couple, I thought, pretty funny water cooler-esque debates that happened during our brief lunch. In almost the exact same second, I look over at Chris's sandwich, which is being served on rye bread, and I notice that it's been cut into the rectangles. And as I'm saying that to Chris, Gary points out that our sandwiches, which are on a French roll, are cut diagonally within the French roll. So it was sort of like an instant checkmate. But the larger debate was really rye bread versus the French roll. Now, Gary and I are team French roll. Chris and Caelan are team rye. I'm not sure where Dawson falls on it.
Dawson went rye. Dawson, your mic is completely gone now.
Again.
We can't hear you at all. But Dawson went rye, I'll say, Matt. And look, I will say that the French roll is highly controversial and goes against the the traditional grain, and a purist would call us heretics, Matt. And I
Can you hear me
don't.
now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, my one rule is however the people who make the sandwiches that we're buying it from, you serve it to me the way you make it. You're making a business out of sandwiches. I'll trust that you know what you're doing. I love a French roll, but I don't substitute anything at a Jewish deli. They know how to make sandwiches.
It's a fair point.
That's exactly what I said. I want exactly the way that they sell it and they make it and they want me to eat it. I want director's cut. You know, I want to see exactly. I want their vision in my mouth.
I respect that. Maybe not that phrasing exactly. I respect the notion of it. I just think personally, when it comes to a sandwich, I would prefer bread that doesn't taste like it fell into dirt before it was placed on my sandwich.
That would rye bread taste like to you?
Pretty much. It's grainy. It's got like a really sharp taste that just absolutely pulls away from the sandwich, what we're really here for. And I know that's how it's supposed to be made. But again, when I go to the beach, I don't want to put sand in my sandwich. There's going to be sand in my sandwich. I'm going to deal with it, but I would prefer that it's not there.
Yeah, you don't want the sand already put into your sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. You're wrong. It's sad. I could see how rye as a put off. It's very different than all the other breads.
I did mention that the only application for it is, in fact, the pastrami sandwich. In no other scenario are you eating rye bread. So you got to be.
Yeah. I appreciate the artistry and the form, the history of the sandwich. I can't discount that. But again, when it comes to dirt on the bread, I'm just going to always ask for that French roll instead.
Well, on that same point, I don't eat corned beef and cabbage on St. Patrick's Day because these people were in a fucking famine. They're not. That's why they fucking eat the shit. So, you know.
I agree. You gotta
just because they couldn't afford yeast to make their bread leavened. Do we have to emulate that and celebrate it? I don't know, man. It's the same thing with corned beef and cabbage, dude.
We did the same thing in my Catholic school. Once a year, we would do this. We would do this meal, and just so all the kids can understand what all the poor countries would eat. Where we got nothing but a small bowl of rice and a cup of water, and we would pay for it. And I remember that day every year because I would always ask for more rice and I couldn't get it. And it was just like that. Because they ate that way, we had to do it just so we can understand what they were going through. And it was the most plain food ever. 1 cup of rice and water. But I get it now. And I won't do it again. But yeah, I'll eat corned beef and cabbage any day of the week. I don't care.
Well, just to circle it back to the langers and the pastrami here, just so we can wrap up and move on here. It was an incredible meal. Gary, thank you so much for picking all of that up.
Yeah, my pleasure, boys.
Definitely think we all ate too much, except for Caelan, who's I know is a vacuum cleaner. But he ate his entire sandwich. He then ate bites of other people's sandwiches. I'm told he had chicken nuggets, and before the mics heated up, said he was still hungry. Now, I'm by far the fattest person on the show, and I can barely move after eating that sandwich. So I don't even know how the fuck that's possible.
Fried chicken plate later today, too.
That's what I meant. Yeah,
that was
crazy.
The chicken nuggets he referenced. It was a fried chicken plate, 3-piece with beans and coleslaw.
Was that from
Gus's again today? After you went yesterday?
It's so good. Yeah, I did.
He did.
It was only a few hours after the pastrami too, like 2-3 hours. Yeah, and now I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat again.
Matt,
I don't know what it is.
He's vying for your bit. He wants your segment.
He's a goddamn machine. Well, again, I would definitely like to try Wexler's again. I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong. That's fine, but I need to.
I've never had Wexler, so I'm more than happy to try it with you, Matt.
All right. Well, that's good. Right. Gary says fat. And I say that's what's on the menu.
Yeah. Now, Dawson, we all answered this, so I'd like you to weigh in before we get our plugs in. J-Lo's butt, the cultural phenomenon that is J-Lo's butt. No, it is a cultural phenomenon, right?
Sure, absolutely.
What is okay? I'll actually ask all of you guys this. What is the bigger cultural phenomenon with Jennifer Lopez? Is it Gary sunglasses back on that says invisibility cloak? Is it her butt?
Like the kid in Big Daddy.
Oh, that's right. Is it her butt, or is it that Oscar dress she wore that one year? You remember?
Not
you
an
know
Oscar
the one.
dress.
Oh, what was it?
Dress.
What was the dress?
Grammys.
The Grammys dress that J-Lo wore that one year, or her butt. Bigger cultural phenomenon.
It's her butt.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I'll tell you why. I'll give you one good reason. In Robert Lewis's Special Forces Green Beret team,
Go on.
Everybody gets a nickname. And the one guy with the big ass, they nicknamed him J-Lo.
Wow.
That's
for the
amazing.
rest of his life because he has a big ass.
That's great.
Well, there you go. That really settles it. So J-Lo's butt, another cultural phenomenon. Ba-ba. So there we go. Glad we were able to settle that. Now, Caelan's gone again. I forgot to ask him about our visitor we had earlier. So we'll get into that.
Isn't he supposed to also flick a shelf movie?
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
yeah.
I'm sorry. You're totally right. We have indoor Matt here. He should
We
be
can
flicking
pick
a
it
movie.
now. Just Matt, why don't you pick it now? And then when he comes back, he doesn't need to be here to witness you do the reach.
Yeah, we can all verify that it was chosen at random.
Yeah,
Matt
and then
is
we
going-
can discuss before Caelan comes in with the final judgment. What do we got
Matt
here?
is going for the
Ooh.
bookcase on the right.
One of my personal favorites, A Bronx Tale.
Bronx.
Oh.
we,
Why do I feel like Caelan hasn't seen this? Which is
I think
just a
Caelan-
I think it's
travesty.
actually a movie I loaned to him fairly recently.
That's what I'm going to say. I think
we're
Caelan
in
has
luck.
seen this. So, Caelan, get back in here, buddy.
I'm gonna
It's time to flick.
I'm gonna write a guess.
Matt has chosen. You can just raise it up to the screen again while I say it. Matt has chosen A Bronx Tale.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you loaned me that movie,
I told you. Yeah.
and I think
Got
that
me.
was still back when I was living at the apartment with me and Gary's place. I think he had moved out by then, but I remember watching that. Solid, definitely flickable. I'm gonna go 8.6. 8.6 out of 10.
That's a solid
Strong.
score.
Well scored.
Yeah.
I think everybody's
Very-
gonna have to tune in to watch that.
Very accurate.
Dawson, what'd you write down?
Flickable 4.
Oh,
Oh,
Bold.
close guess.
way better than that. So I think
Yep.
Caelan was correct.
We got to play another Flick in the Bean game where we have to all guess Caelan's score, like Rotten
Oh,
Tomatoes
that's
game
right.
style.
I remember.
So
I was
maybe we'll
terrible
do
at
that.
game.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that next time. So we shall see.
You want me to come up with 5 totally random things?
Yeah, last time, Caelan, what's the first thing we're flicking? Grass. This is pretty phenomenal. All right. Well, that'll do it for the water cooler. Let's get our plugs in, and we'll start with the latecomer, Mr. Mike Dawson. What's up?
Sup? Shit, man. I don't have anything. Call your mom. Tell her you love her.
That
There you
is
go.
something. That's a big thing, and I agree.
great.
So that is Mike Dawson's plug. Let's go with Indoor Matt.
Follow me on Twitter at Matt Fondiler. And I just finished watching the HBO docuseries McMillions. And I thought that was really solid too. So I will suggest that in lieu of a plug.
Darn,
Okay.
Jerry.
Love that.
Mhm.
Gary Graffs.
Yeah. I was actually I think someone came in my office and stole my Sharpie. I was trying to make a graph, but I can't find the Sharpie.
It's
and
okay.
Not going to translate with just a pen. Let's see. McMillions was a good plug. That's solid. Reasonable Doubt with Mark Garrigus every Saturday. Daves of Thunder. Follow us on social or go to @DOT Podcast to find our YouTube channel. I'd love if you'd subscribe to that. And yeah, I'll go with Call Your Mom.
All right. Love all that and agree with all that as well. Caelan Biehn. Where can you go for you?
Don't worry about me.
Oh, good. See, I
Wow,
always think
the
Insomniac's not
flair
here,
he put on it.
but the way he says that, I wonder. Yeah.
You got all
As
up
for-
in that mic. Put some stank on it.
Yep. We stank some stuff.
As for me, check out the movie Hustlers. It's very good. No, I would say, yeah, we'll do I'll do Call Your Mom as well. And I will do that after this show ends. And tell people about this show. I'd like to plug our own show because
There you go.
we'd like to see it grow. We want everybody in on the inside joke that is this show. But we think that people would enjoy it. Hopefully, it's been taking your mind off of some of the more crazier, serious things that is going on in this world, and it absolutely is doing it for me, which I find therapeutic and refreshing. Because the second I leave the studio, it all just hits me again. But what's going on? So it's a nice little escape, and hopefully we provide that for everybody listening. So thanks again for hanging out with us. We love being here. We love doing it, and we will continue to do it. So till next time.
Chris,
Caelan.
Yeah.